Hello learners, welcome back to course BEDS 001 Overview and Perspectives of Values. This is week 2. In this particular week, we will be dealing with concept of morality and moral education. This particular week 2 topic will be divided into 3 sections. Today we will be discussing the first section, section 1, in which moral consciousness and moral education versus religious education will be discussed. And after this section, you will be able to understand the nature of moral consciousness and differentiate between moral education from religious education. Let me rewind a bit. In week 1, we have completed social malaise and the need for value education, wherein we discuss social malaise, we discuss the role of parents, the role of teachers. And in the last lecture, in week 1, I had given you certain multiple choice questions. I had given you around 10 multiple choice questions, and I had given these multiple choice questions without giving you the answer, saying that I will be answering these multiple choice questions in this class. So let me get back to the questions which was asked in the last lecture. The first question was values are. There were 3 choices in each question and one choice is correct. So let me go one by one. The first question was values are. The correct answer is number 1, good for us. The second question, social malaise, in other words, is number 2 is the correct answer, which is social evils. Question number 3, corruption is absent in our society, less in our society, deep rooted in our society. The answer is deep rooted in our society. Number 3 is the answer. Question number 4, education and value education are same, not the same, are opposite. The answer is not the same. We have discussed how value education is not the same as education, because when we talk about education, education means getting higher degree. You may get the highest degree, but it does not necessarily mean that you will be able to cultivate or inculcate value. So value education is not the same as education. Then the 5th question, religious scriptures teaches us love thyself, love thy neighbor, love not. The answer is number 2, love thy neighbor. Question number 6, home is the first school to learn values, second school to learn values, last school to learn values. The answer is first school to learn values. Question number 7, Mahatma Gandhi teaches us violence, world peace or non-violence. The answer is question 7. The answer is number 3, which is non-violence or ahimsa, non-violence. This is what the father of the nation has taught us, non-violence. Then we have question number 8, values are for all or some, only students. The correct answer is number 1, values are for all. It is not only for some but for all members of the society. It is for us all. Question number 9, teachers have a minor role to play, central role to play, limited role to play. The answer is teachers have a central role to play. Question number 10. In the first week lecture, we had completed certain topics. And which are these topics? Social malaise and the need for value education, role of parents and teachers, or social malaise and need for value education, role of parents, or social malaise and need for value education. The answer to question number 10 is social malaise and need for value education, role of parents and teachers. So the first is the correct answer. These were the multiple choice questions given to you. I hope you have attempted these questions. These questions were given to you to self-assess yourself, to see how you have understood or are able to understand what has been taught in the first week. So with these multiple questions, solving the multiple questions, we will move on to week 2. Like I said, section 1, where we will be discussing moral consciousness and also the different, how to differentiate or what is the difference between moral education and religious education. Let me start by saying or asking, what is moral consciousness? consciousness means knowledge. Therefore, moral consciousness is about a knowledge of right and wrong, of good and evil. Moral consciousness, like intelligence, is a natural endowment which requires an appropriate environment or education for its full flowering in the human personality. So, this is moral consciousness. When we talk about moral consciousness, what does it mean? It means a knowledge about right and wrong, good and evil. So, moral consciousness is knowing what is right, what is wrong, what is good and evil. Man is born with two kinds of forces. One that leads to self-preservation with instincts that lead to aggression, anger, jealousy, fear and so on. So these would be self-preservation, and the other that leads to social preservation like love, affection, sympathy, care and so on. So these are the two kind of forces. These are the two kinds of feelings, you can say, in a way, which man is born with. That one is self-preservation, where you have all these feelings of aggression, anger, jealousy, fear. In other words, you can say these are negative feelings. And on the other hand, we have another kind of forces, which is social preservation, positive feelings, positive attitude. Like, in a way, you can say these are positive feelings like love, affection, sympathy, care and so on. So these are the two kind of forces man is born with: self-preservation and social preservation. So when we talk about moral consciousness is related with social preservation. Therefore, morality or moral consciousness has no meaning and relevance without a social context. If we take care of others' feelings or emotions as we take care of ours, we are morally conscious. So, in a way, what does this mean? If we have knowledge about others' feelings or emotions, if we are able to empathize with others with regard to their feelings, with regard to their emotions, then we say that we are morally conscious. On the other hand, if the suffering, sorrows, pains of others fail to move us, if it does not bring any empathy within us, if we do not sympathize with the suffering, sorrows, pains of others, it signifies that we lack moral consciousness, because we are not conscious of the other sufferings, we are not conscious of the sorrows and pains of others, which means that we lack moral consciousness. Such consciousness is innate or inborn, and as already pointed out, its natural depends on the environment and surroundings. So when a person is born, there is consciousness about what is right and wrong, what is good and evil. So, however, whether this consciousness will lead to what is called being morally conscious or not morally conscious depends on the environment and surroundings. It depends on the family which has brought you up. It depends on the society. It depends on the surroundings. It depends on the educational institutions in which you go through, to which you go. So, consciousness is there, is innate or inborn, but whether these consciousness leads to awareness, whether it leads to being morally conscious or not being morally conscious, depends on the environment and the surroundings. After talking about moral consciousness, let us move on to the next topic, which is in section 1, moral education versus religious education. Religion and morality are not synonymous, which means religion and morality are not the same. Morality does not necessarily depend upon religion, though for some this is an almost automatic assumption at times. Many people may assume that morality and religion are the same, but it is not. According to the Westminster Dictionary of Christian Ethics, religion and morality are to be defined differently and have no definitional connection with each other. Conceptually and in principle, morality and a religious value system are two distinct kinds of value systems or action guides. Let me tell you the difference further. Let me differentiate between what is religion, what is moral education, religious education, or what is the difference between morality and religion. It is possible to live without a religion. Like, one may be an atheist, one may not follow any religion, one may not believe in God or gods, but it is unthinkable to live without a set of moral values to guide our behavior. There are many in the world who are morally good but not particularly religious. So there is no logical connection between morality and religion. So this is one difference between morality and religion. If we accept a particular code of conduct, not it is recommended by or derived from some particular religious faith, but for reasons other than these, then our morality is not a religious one. For example, you do not tell lies, you are honest, not taking these principles particularly from any religious text, but there is a moral code of conduct which you follow, that is not telling lies or being honest. So it means that morality is not a religious one, because you are not following these particular code of conduct because some religious text tells you to do it, but you are having this particular personal code of conduct, a personal moral code of conduct where you are honest and where you do not tell lies. So it is not particularly a religious one because you are following your own moral code of conduct. For many religious people, morality and religion are the same or inseparable. For them, either morality is part of religion or the religion is their morality. For others, especially for non-religious people, morality and religion are distinct and separable. Religion may be immoral or non-moral, and morality may or should be non-religious for a lot of people. Let me repeat. For many religious people, morality and religion are the same or inseparable. For them, either morality is a part of religion or the religion is their morality. So you have this set of people who believe that morality and religion are the same, they are inseparable. But for others, for people who are non-religious, people who are atheists, people who do not believe in a God or gods, morality and religion are distinct and separable. Religion and morality are not the same. You can have moral code of conducts, you may be moral in your ways, in your thoughts, in your speaking, but you can be as well as non-religious. So morality and religion are not the same for some people. Even for some religious people, the two are different and separable. They may hold that religion should be moral and morality should be, but they agree that they may not be. So a lot of people who are also religious believe that and also think that the two are different and separable, but they also say at the same time that religion should be moral and morality should be a part. Morality is also a part of religion. So for many religious people, though believing that they are thinking, assuming that they are different and separable, they also hold that religion should be moral as well as morality should also be part of religion. So in today's lecture, we have discussed moral consciousness. According to a lot of people, consciousness means knowledge. Therefore, when we say moral consciousness, it is about having a knowledge. And when we add moral to consciousness, it means a knowledge of right and wrong, of good and evil. So, when we say that a person is morally conscious, it means that that person has empathy, a person cares for the others, a person understands the sufferings, pains of others. So this is what is meant by morally being morally conscious. And when we talk about the two types of forces which man is born with, one is self-preservation. When we talk about self-preservation, more or less it means aggression, it means anger, jealousy, fear and so on. And the other is social preservation, which means love, affection, sympathy, care and so on. So when we talk about moral consciousness is related to social preservation. It means that when you are conscious about others' feeling, it is social preservation because you have empathy for the others, you care for the others. And when we talk about being morally conscious, a person is born with consciousness. It means that a person, when we talk about moral consciousness, it is a natural endowment. However, how you become a morally upright person, how you become morally conscious depends on an appropriate environment or education for its full flowering in the human personality. When we talk about the surroundings, when we talk about your environment, let me repeat by saying that when you are born, you have consciousness. It means that the consciousness that you have is innate or inborn. It is within you, but how these consciousness is reflected while growing up, how it is nurtured, depends on the environment and surroundings. For example, you are born in a family with values. You are born in a family which teaches you how to respect elders, how to be honest, how not to tell lies. Then these surroundings, the environment surrounding you will help you to become what is called a morally upright person, because you are told to be morally conscious about these values. If a person is not surrounded by values, which means that if a child is not seeing good examples in front of him or her, that is to respect the elders, not to tell lies, to be honest, then this particular child will not grow up to be a morally conscious person. So consciousness to develop, to become a person, to become morally conscious also depends on the environment and surroundings. How these moral consciousness is nurtured depends on the environment and the surroundings and the family, the support system, the educations and so educational institutions and so on. And like I said, morality and religion is different. Morality is different from religion and they are not the same. What is morally right? A person who is morally right may not be a religious person. So, for example, a person who does not believe in religion, who is an atheist, may be morally upright, but he is not particularly a religious person. He does not believe in God or gods. So morality is not the same as religion. Moral education is not the same as religious education. So learners, we have discussed what is morality, religion, what is moral education, what is religious education. We have also discussed what is moral consciousness. I hope in this particular section, which is section 1, week 2, concept of morality, in this particular week we have this is a particular week which will tell you about concept of morality and moral education. This is the first section and we will be covering week 2 in the next 2 sections. So week 2 concept of morality and moral education will comprise of 3 sections. We have completed the first section today. I hope you have enjoyed the class. Thank you so much.